I'm coming to you from our Airbnb in Tunis, which is very warm thanks to Mega Space Heater. Yeah, I could have probably come up with a better song than that, but that's what I'm going with. So this video is an update on all the travel we did in Morocco, from which I still have a cough. So I have about a month's worth of activity to go into detail about because I kind of missed a lot of it before. Jonathan and I landed in Tangier, which is in the north of Morocco, closer to Spain, and actually has some Spanish influence in that area because of that, but we didn't really see that too much because we didn't really see much of Tangier, period. We landed in our Airbnb and kind of hunkered down for 2 days while we finalized the details of our workaway and where we would be going. I had tentative offers for some workaways, but I hadn't actually set anything in stone. While we were waiting, we were surviving in Tangier. I'll tell you guys a little bit of a culture shock moment I had. We went down to the street to find food. I was looking for eggs, my classic breakfast, and I walked into the store and the floor was covered in wood chips, I think, and feathers, and the eggs were stacked in layers of 30, like these cartons that hold one layer of 30 eggs, and they're just stacked like this. I was a little surprised to find that to be the condition of the eggs, but minor. I was like, okay, this is the level of economic development we've stepped into, so we'll get over that really quickly, and we did. And so we bought the eggs. I bought a couple other things too. I ended up making chicken parmesan because we had panko breadcrumbs in the Airbnb, coincidentally, so I put them to very good use. So we quickly moved on from Tangier. We took a train to Casablanca, and we arrived at Casablanca at night. We had to walk a good distance to our workaway, where we would be staying. And we met the owner of the British Language Academy. His name's Harim. And so he took us in and he showed us around. The British Language Academy is named quite curiously because in no way is it British. There's no such language as British. Harim's not British. The location's not British. So it's not really clear where the British part comes from. I think it's just a branding sort of thing. You know, they want the brand associated with Britain and Britishness. They have royal guards for the doors. And so this whole school was Harim's vision, and I wouldn't exactly say life's work, but something that he's very, very, very serious about and very passionate about. And he's the sort of person that is very interested in benefiting his community. This school of his receives us volunteers. Basically, we hang around, and when it's time for students to have their classes, they have their classes, and then they have scheduled little 15-minute sessions with us where we get conversation prompts and we talk to the students, and they get to practice their English with us. That's 15 minutes per class, and so depending on the day, this might be up to 4.5 hours of work for us, but usually less, usually just maybe 2 hours a day. And that's the sort of work that we did. That's how we earned our board. Jonathan and I were staying in a school not in the downtown of Casablanca, but in what would be described more as the suburbs, although they're not exactly what I think of when I think of suburbs. But we were a good ways away from the downtown in a location called Ain Shok. We were actually staying inside the school, which is really funny. I didn't get any footage of the interior. I really wish I had. It would have been really easy for me to do, but we had 4 beds in a room in the school. We had a 2-top electric stove on top of a table. We had a refrigerator and a pot, a pan, some basic, very minimal cookware. Oh, and we were not properly insulated from the outside. Yeah, there were 2 walls between us and the outside, and both of them had not holes, gaps, very large, deliberate gaps of free flow air between them. The outermost one was sealed with plastic so that it at least somewhat insulated the temperature, but it did not insulate the sound, which in a number of Muslim majority countries, there are regular call to prayers that come by loud speakerphones from the nearby mosques. It just so happened that we were next to the most boring call to prayer guy ever. Apparently this is not proper to say, but I'm a free thinker, so it's my privilege to say it. The call to prayer of his was very, very unenthusiastic. I actually visualized him half asleep every time he came onto the microphone to do his call to prayer. I have heard a lot of call to prayers in my time in Morocco and now in Tunisia. So I have the privilege of rank ordering the ones that I've heard, and I would rank the guy that we had to hear dead last. And it doesn't help that the times we had to hear them included 6:30 a.m. Conditions were pretty tolerable. I was actually pretty happy with them overall. They do kind of wear on you, but that's fine. We spent a lot of the time away. We spent a lot of the time on trips. Harim is very interested in taking care of the volunteers, and he wants them to have a good time, and so he gives us time off to go and take trips, and he actually helps to organize these trips in a lot of cases. The first of which is a trip to a small Portuguese town called El Jadida. Most cities have what's called a Medina, which would be like the old part of town that predates colonialization. That's really the attraction of a lot of the cities in Morocco, and that was the attraction to El Jadida. So in El Jadida, there's actually also a British language academy school. So we went there, saw the town, we explored the Medina, we ate couscous, a traditional Moroccan dish, and then we did some volunteering at the school. And I snuck a little clip of this little girl who was just absolutely adorable. Her English and her voice were just so funny to me.
Elsie is in the sky. No, not in the sky. We have a rainy weather. She is in the animal. You gotta say crowd, not crowd.
So the trip was nice. We really started to get to know the volunteers better there. So we spent a lot of time with them, got to know them all. You know, I say all, they came and went at different times, right? There was some people would be temporarily gone on trips, some people would leave, new people would arrive, so it's kind of like a little revolving door, but we get to meet a lot of cool people, and I was very thrilled about that, actually, because this trip has been lacking a lot of that.